Okay, welcome to our UFC 205 preview special, and this is brought to you by Nano Hydrate, of course. This is the greatest 3-in-1 workout supplement. So I'm here with my buddy Todd Parkinson. We've been good buddies for a long time, and mostly online, but occasionally we run across each other in the gym. But Todd, we want people to understand why they should listen to what you and I have to say about this huge, groundbreaking event that's happening in Madison Square Garden. A troll?
No,
or is it just behavior?
yeah, part of that is where I was like coming up, and I'm a writer for toothlessmma.com, and I've wrote for other websites too. I've worked for vendettafighter.com also, and a lot of times when I post them, I'm like, oh, people are like clickbait, this or that. And I'm like, I'm just promoting my website. And I'm like, I'm making a point. They're this, oh, well, you can't promote on here. We're Sure Dog, and we want the money off of this. So I just do my thing. And yeah, I work for them. And also I work over at Wasatch Academy right now as my full-time job. But yeah, I like to write on my off time, and it's one of my biggest passions. And that's actually how I got to really know Adam. Is he actually had all these contests for free T-shirts, and I always did the prediction, and then I also make prediction videos myself just on my off time too.
Well, that's true. I can tell you that I've known Todd because you do so well in our prediction contest. One of the largest local Facebook pages is my page, Riven MMA, and that's an apparel, basically it was founded as a combat apparel company in 2007, and it's basically a hobby. Any money that we make in that, we donate to youth wrestling or to young fighters, just because I love combat sports, and I'm passionate about combat sports. My dad taught unarmed combat at the Air Force Academy, and so I've been doing everything from judo to wrestling to boxing to Muay Thai, MMA my whole life. And I can say that my biggest claim to fame in MMA is that I am the promoter for the largest event in the history of Utah. In fact, I had more people attend my throwdown showdown at UVU than the UFC event that happened recently in the arena in Salt Lake City. So that was a big accomplishment. That happened way before the UFC came to Salt Lake City recently, but we actually have two shows that were more attended than the most.
I went to a few of those with Berkman as the
Did
main
you?
event.
Yeah. Well, those were actually after. Those were actually after I was in charge. When I was in charge, we sold out that whole arena. I mean, packed in 8,200 people in there, and so I sold that show after its 5th show, just because being a promoter is a lot of work, and I really like hanging out with my kids, and the two don't mix so well. Okay, so now this is the fight that is gonna make UFC 205, in my opinion. My opinion is it's gonna break all the records that Conor's already broken, and then realistically, it is the most exciting card. Yeah, it's probably the best card that the UFC's ever put together as far as pure star power, current title fights, past champions, people that have held the belt fighting on one card. It's amazing. It's got to be, without question, the most purse that's ever going to be paid out. Most highest guaranteed purse. No question.
Knock on wood, no injuries too.
That's true. That's true.
Plus, it'll be stacked either way if one of the main ones does. But I mean, for the main part, Alvarez, Conor, they need to stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure. Conor needs to fight. Conor needs to fight. I mean, people love him or hate him.
Yeah.
I can't help but love the guy. I mean, he's so entertaining. I have watched some of his interviews 3-4 times over just because they're so hilarious. He's so witty. He's so clever. I mean, people compare him to like a modern version of Muhammad Ali, but the truth is Muhammad Ali rehearsed his poems and he rehearsed his rhymes, and he was amazing, and he was the originator of that. A lot of people even give him credit for being the founder of rap. just because of the way he spoke before his fights. But I think Conor McGregor's on a level of trash talk that's beyond anyone else.
The only time I ever watch pre-fight, I always watch the post-fight press conferences, but it's whether John Jones and Daniel Cormier are there, or always Conor McGregor, especially when it's Nate Diaz.
It's must-see TV. I mean, everything he says is just entertaining because you never know what he's going to say, and he pulls little clever things out of his brain, out of his butt, whatever it is, just so spontaneously. When he said the thing about Nate Diaz is a credit to the community because, you know, he teaches kids jiu-jitsu in the morning and then goes on bike rides with the elderly in the afternoon. I mean, and then he says he's a cholo gangster, you know, making, you know, puppets with his finger puppets with his left hand and gang signs with the right sign. I mean, you just can't. That stuff is just
Jeremy Stevens. Awesome. Who the F is that guy?
Yeah. I mean, Jeremy Stevens got shut down worse than anyone's ever been shut down. That was just brutal. I mean, even the other fighters could not help but smile. I mean, just seeing the guy just get so shut down by that. So real quick, before we get into that, this is my new project, and I love Nano Hydrate because it has everything you need for cellular hydration, energy, electrolytes, amino acids. So it's a pre-workout, during workout, post-workout, all in one. You've taken it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, since I've taken it, what I was used to with supplements I've took in the past, you take pre-workout and you're like buzzed like this, like ready to go. It's not the case. This is more subtle, and it's as you work out, you can continue to work out stronger is what I've noticed is the main part. And the workouts I'm able to complete, I'm like, well, I can add another lift to this workout. When I lift weights, I do that about 4 or 5 times a week. I'm able to get through that, but continue on things, but not have the lactic buildup I usually do. But I think the main thing I noticed is when I played basketball, you know, I'm a 230-pound guy. I could run the whole time, and I really didn't get as gassed as I usually, and I didn't even sweat as much. It's kind of crazy, but afterwards, it's like you mentioned, recovery is, you know, sometimes like after a workout, I just like to lay there, but I almost want to do things like, well, I want to clean up around the house. I still have like, it's kind of weird. It's like you're still charged a bit after workout. It's like a more positive release of endorphins almost.
I like that. I mean, the thing is unless you've tried it, it's really hard to explain because we intentionally didn't try to get people addicted by overdosing it with caffeine. We wanted it to be the proper amounts of ingredients, and so we worked with sports scientists to come up with the perfect combination, but it's just the right amount of caffeine. Because caffeine is a proven supplement. It definitely helps in performance, but it isn't too much caffeine that it taxes your adrenal glands and it gives you the jitters or some of that anxiety.
I mean, other things, I've scratched the side of my head when I took like different powders and that type of thing.
No, so...
And I don't get that at all with this. It actually tastes good too.
Yeah, well thanks man. I love it. I'm excited about it. The nano technology is what makes it so that you're actually getting electrolytes during the workout. You know, you're getting your vitamins, you're getting your energy, but then the cool thing is you're actually absorbing amino acids during the workout, which help you recover as you're breaking things down simultaneously. So the recovery's happening while you're doing your workout. Okay, so that brings us to the Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez fight. Another fight where I love both guys. I mean, I actually have to admit that as great as Conor McGregor was at talking trash in the pre-205 press conference, Eddie Alvarez seemed to handle it all in stride. Much better than his past opponents. He didn't seem like it got him worked up. Didn't seem like he got angry. It actually made him laugh. Like he seemed like he was entertained by Conor McGregor's antics.
I think the whole time Eddie Alvarez is going, well, I get this fight, I get this fight, I get this fight. Because I mean, Nate Diaz, he's not looking for no fight right now because he's got all that money. That's what Conor McGregor is. He's changed the game from anywhere from 125 to 170. They're all calling him out.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, he will change your life. I mean, if you think about the fact that Nate Diaz went from making $40,000 a fight to $2 million guaranteed in his last fight, not to mention his pay-per-view cut. So he might have made as much as $4 or $5 million in his last fight, which is unbelievable considering he's had over 20 fights in the UFC and was making 40 grand a fight. It's amazing. So yeah, I mean, a guy like him who just needs black t-shirts and a road bike to do triathlons, he's set for life. He never has to do another thing.
Paying out his brother's bail for the marijuana thing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but Conor McGregor, that dude can spend. He's going to need to keep fighting because he goes through cars and watches and suits. And I mean, that dude knows how to spend the money. But I think that's what attracts people to him as well, because they're just amazed at this MMA guy who MMA fighters have been those blue collar dudes. They've been the dudes in the trenches that just say they fight for the love of it and haven't asked for the money and have never really gotten the money. GSP was the first guy to ever really make substantial amounts of money, but now you've got, you know, and Brock Lesnar was making good money, but he is a crossover guy from pro wrestling, but now Conor McGregor is a pure MMA guy and making more money than anyone has ever dreamed of making in the UFC. Yeah,
and Mighty Mouse, he's like the Steph Curry of the UFC. He's, you know, the best right now, but he's not even making hardly a fraction of McGregor.
And his draw, I mean, think about the guy, pound for pound, he's ranked number 1. And he's on pace to break every record as far as winning is concerned, and nobody watches him fight. Because he's just not the draw that Conor McGregor is. Conor McGregor, everyone wants to watch him because the dude is entertaining. He takes his losses like a man. He got destroyed by Nate Diaz, wanted to fight him exactly the same way, come back, and he won that fight. But the dude is just got some sort of gravitational pull that brings the lovers and the haters to watch Conor McGregor. People want to see him get destroyed, or people want to see him win. Personally, I'm such a fan of MMA that I wish he was a little bit better, because I don't think he's near as good as he thinks he is. And I don't want to see him lose, because him losing is not good for the sport. Him winning is going to continue to make MMA grow. And so this is where we get to our predictions. What do you see happening in this fight?
I think, you know, like you said, though, he is an amazing striker, Conor McGregor, but Eddie Alvarez knows that. Eddie Alvarez is no slouch on his feet himself, but we saw what he did against Anthony Pettis. He wants to grab, I think in those first 2 rounds especially, he'll grab a hold of him, and he knows the weakness that Nate Diaz exposed. And also a little bit that Chad Mendes exposed is the cardio of Conor McGregor. And so I think Alvarez, you know, he always does a chance getting caught, but I think the odds makers will say he's going to grab a hold of him for those first 2 rounds, you know, land a little damage, but for the main part.
Wait a second, but what do you think about the cardio? I mean, dude, you look at Conor's cardio. Number one, this first fight with Diaz, non-existent. He shot his wad in the first round, was useless, got choked out. Like, he literally gave him his back and was like, "I'm done. Just choke me out." Didn't even wait for the choke to start cutting off the blood before he tapped, and then ran for a couple rounds just to try to avoid tiring himself out too much to beat him in the second fight. I mean, I really question his cardio.
Yeah, and I think part of it is being so cerebral. And I think Conor McGregor, he does all the things right before the fight. He does everything he's supposed to cardio-wise, but I think his mind is in it so much. He's obsessed more than other fighters are. That's a cerebral effect that he actually gasses from the emotion.
Really? So I think he puts so much thought into it that he has like an adrenaline dump.
And there's so much on the line for him. He's talked so much trash, and I think there is an initial adrenaline dump along with his output of, you know, heavy volume strikes. I mean, he goes for the home runs in the first round.
He seems to go for the home runs almost all the time. I mean, what was crazy to me is that he was so calculated against Nate Diaz with the leg kicks, and still seemed to gas. He didn't. He actually genuinely seemed calm and composed. I just watched it again last night and stuck with that game plan and still tired out, still got gassed. Even at the end of the second round, he was already seeming gassed. So that really worries me, because I mean, as much as I love Eddie Alvarez as a person, as a general lover of MMA, I want Conor McGregor to win because it's just so much better for the growth of the sport worldwide. I mean, he's a global superstar.
But unfortunately, Conor McGregor picked this fight with him, and my prediction, I'd love for the sport for Conor to win, but I'm picking Alvarez in the third round, TKO.
Okay. TKO, really?
Yeah, I think he'll be able to land a little bit of ground and pound, but it'll be more significant strikes once. I think in the third round, Conor will be gassed to the point where he cannot continue. Eddie Alvarez has proven in Bellator especially, he's a 5-round champion for a long time.
Yeah, he's the only Bellator and UFC champion.
Yeah, and he's made strides. I mean, he had a tough time. I saw him fight Cerrone, and he had a tough time against longer guys, but he's the bigger guy coming in against McGregor, and I think he'll put the weight pressure and everything, and this is Alvarez's fight.
Okay, so if you were to visualize it, what do you visualize being the beginning of the end? How do you see it happening where he finishes him?
It's going to happen on the feet, and I think McGregor, it's going to be a lot like how Diaz did in the first on the feet, where you're just going to see him fade, because McGregor, he's got a chin. He's not going to go out.
He does have an amazing chin.
Yeah, he's not going to go out from one of Alvarez's strikes, but we're going to see a flurry of punches that will put him against the cage. He'll turtle up until he's eating punches on the ground. The ref has to take him off him. Man. That's how it's going to happen in the third round.
Sadly, I have a hard time disagreeing with you. I really have an easy time visualizing that exact scenario.
Yeah.
However, I just think that Conor is going to prepare himself. He's going to be totally efficient with the fight, with the strikes that he throws. But I think he knows. I think deep down he knows he cannot go 5 rounds hard with a guy like Eddie Alvarez, who can grind and put way more physical pressure on him than even Nate Diaz. Because Nate Diaz can't lean against you and take you down and do the stuff that an Eddie Alvarez can do. So there's no way Conor makes it 5 rounds and wins. So my prediction, and it's wishful thinking, but I think Conor's going to just tag him with one of those perfect counter lefts in the second round and knock him out. Just straight knock him out. Second round, drop him stiff.
Aldo style. There you go.
Aldo style. I think it's not going to be a walk away. That's not his style. He's going to drop him, follow up with a couple hammer fists, but he's going to be done by the time he hits the ground.
It's a bold prediction, but I'm still going with Alvarez.
Believe me, I know I don't even know if I believe my prediction. Yeah. It's more wishful thinking, and I hope it happens. But Todd, I really appreciate you coming. It's been great, and thanks for all the support of Riven, Nano Hydrate.